Day 43. I'm reading Reader Come Home by Marian Wolf, page 160. From a cognitive neuroscience perspective, the repetition fostered in the letter approach provides children with the multiple exposures they need to learn and consolidate the rules for letters and their corresponding sounds and increase their knowledge of words, stories, and literature. Repetition fosters the growth of high-quality representations from phonemes and graphemes, letters, to word meanings and grammatical forms. As a very old teacher once said, most times the lower rungs of a ladder are the best ones for learning to climb. I always hate to ask a child to jump to the top rung without them. All of the rungs are important if we are to prepare children to become fluent readers who use both their imagination and their analytical capacities. Furthermore, knowledge about the reading brain can help teachers of every method see what rungs in the ladder may be missing in how they teach children. The reading circuit activates everything it knows. So should our teaching during the entire 5 to 10 year age period. Within such a perspective, teachers of children from 5 to 10 years of age would give ample, explicit attention to every component of the reading circuit, from phonemes and their connections to letters, to the meanings and the functions of words and morphemes, e.g., the smallest unit of meaning in sentence, to an immersion in stories that require ever more sophisticated, deep reading processes, to the daily elicitation of the children's own thoughts and imagination in speaking and writing. In such a way, nothing related to cognition, perception, language, affect, and the motor regions is neglected. At no time during the primary grades should any of these components be neglected and not given their full place in instruction. Learning the meanings and grammatical use of words in increasingly complex sentences is important in first and third grades. Learning about new letter patterns that always reappear and help us figure out the meanings of words is important in both first grade and fourth grade. Over time, by the third and fourth grades, these lower level basic circuit components need to be so practiced and automatic that children can turn their attention to ever more sophisticated comprehension processes, beginning with expanding their background knowledge and ending with the elicitation of their insights and reflections. This is the basis of fluency and also the best way of acquiring it. Fluency is not simply about the speed of decoding, an assumption that has led to the common but insufficient practice of having children reread a passage over and over again. Think back to the Cirque du Soleil image. Each ring has to be fast enough in and off and of itself so that it can pass its information forward to the other rings. Only when each of the rings is fast enough to work in tandem with the other rings, can time be allocated to comprehending what is read and having feelings about it too. We now have extensive evidence that an approach to reading that emphasizes all of these parts of the reading circuit benefits many children. A decade of research by Robin Morris, Maureen Lovett, and my research group has been funded by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. This body of randomized treatment control studies the gold standard of research in medicine and education. demonstrates that when the major components in the reading circuit are explicitly emphasized, the earlier the better, children become more proficient readers even when they begin with significant challenges like dyslexia. Further, as new work in English by Melissa Orkin, in Hebrew by the Israeli scholar Tammy Katzer, and in Italian by Daniela Traficante illumines fluent reading involves knowing not only how words work, but also how they make us feel. Empathy and perspective taking a part of the complex woof of feelings and thoughts, whose convergence propels greater understanding. All young readers need to be able to look at the questions such as, did Horton lay the egg he sits on? And smile with recognition and affection. Emphasis on the multiple aspects of words are not only critical for fluent, proficient reading in the 2/3 of our children who are failing at this moment. They are the bridge that connects the decoding of words to deep reading processes. Rereading the same stories and sentences over and over again is a helpful practice for gaining speed on a particular text, but it will never prepare children to connect concepts, feelings, and personal reflections. Deep reading is always about connection, connecting what we know to what we read to what we feel to what we think, and how we think and to how we live out our lives in a connected world. The importance of forming these connections was brought home to me years ago by Martha Nussbaum's Cultivating Humanity. Education for world citizenship needs to begin early. As soon as children engage in storytelling, they can tell stories about other lands and other peoples. They can learn that religions other than Judaism and Christianity exist, and people have many traditions and ways of thinking. As children explore stories, rhymes, and songs, especially in the company of adults they love, they are led to notice the suffering of other living creatures with a new keenness. Okay, I should stop here. Please correct me if you can. Thank you.